Oh, can we let, yeah.
What does it seem like from here?
Yeah. That's a problem. Yeah.
Okay.
So is that door always locked?
Yeah, well,
Messages that your mailbox is too full.
yeah. Well, until
No.
we open up the building
Must be a
again,
high limit.
that
Okay.
side door is, but you can get in and get upstairs up that way.
Yeah, that way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's down to 800, which is good.
So, other
You have to respond to.
than getting, of course, you don't need to go to
Oh,
the
no.
utility office,
No.
so there's no reason to
They're not.
access this
Right, you
floor.
can get to police and upstairs, yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
Yeah.
15% of them are just
So-
like junk that got still filtered. Most of them I need to
What?
read. A lot
Joe
you need to
Steckler, I
respond to,
think.
for sure.
Oh, okay.
You have a secretary that can respond.
Okay, you ready?
I
Yeah.
do, but I never have really done that.
Let's all rise for the pledge.
I haven't, it's never been part of
I
what
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. First thing we have on our agenda, as usual, the minutes from last week. And Chair, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Anybody have any questions or corrections on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Lafayette Housing Authority is the agenda today, so Valerie, you're up.
Good morning, Valerie Oakley, Project Manager with Lafayette Housing Authority, and I hope my voice comes through the mask. Let me know if you
You're fine.
don't
We can-
understand.
We can do it.
So I have several releases of mortgage and deed restrictions. I will let you know that all of the homeowners have satisfied their period of occupancy that was required of them for the original funding. So the releases will clear their title. So the first one is the release of mortgage for 2605 Poland Hill Road. And I would ask for approval of the release.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the release of mortgage on 2605 Poland Hill Road.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I'll just go through these because I don't think anybody will have any questions about any of them, will they?
No.
Okay, all right.
No.
So I'll just make you make the motion, we'll vote on it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is release of covenant for deed restrictions for 2605 Poland Hill Road.
Chair, entertain a motion to release the deed restrictions to the same property. Second? Was there a second?
Maybe, yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is 2609 Poland Hill Road.
Chair,
Release
entertain
mortgage. I'm sorry.
Chair, entertain a motion to release the mortgage on 2609 Poland Hill Road.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is release of covenant for deed restrictions, 2609 Poland Hill Road.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the release of covenant for deed restrictions on the same property.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is release of mortgage for 2131 Charles Street.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the release of mortgage on 2131 Charles Street.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thanks. Next is release of covenant for deed restrictions for 2131 Charles Street.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the release of deed restrictions in the same property.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thanks. Next is release of mortgage for 1001 North 7th Street.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the release of mortgage on 1001 North 7th Street.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Next is release of mortgage for 123 East Oak Street, West Lafayette.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the release of mortgage on 123 East Oak Street, West Lafayette.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
And last is release of mortgage for 302 East Stadium, West Lafayette.
Chair, entertain a motion to approve the release of mortgage on 302 East Stadium, West Lafayette.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Valerie. The only other thing we have on the agenda today is claims. Tim, be prepared, buddy.
Okay, very good. Good morning, Tim Clary, Controller. The Controller's Office has reviewed the claims in the amount of $3,539,584.91. We ask for your approval, and I'm prepared to answer any questions that you might have this morning.
Chair will entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Okay, questions, anybody?
I had a question on 8, the last one about the Firehouse annual maintenance.
Okay, that is their staff scheduling module and various other support systems for the web bundled system that they have there at the
Software.
Firehouse. Yes,
Awesome.
software maintenance, yes.
And the other one was on page 9 at the top, the weekly cleaning at HQ. Whose HQ is that?
That is Fire's headquarters. They contract out for
Oh.
their weekly cleaning there at the headquarters.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
Sure.
I think that's a good question. Chief, because of the virus, are you doing more, are you having to do active cleaning more often? I mean, in firehouses?
Oh, yeah, yeah, we, do it multiple times a day in firehouses. And then depending on, we have created, early into this, we created a, it's proven successful because as of right now, we've not had a positive firefighter, which is kind of hard to believe.
Yep, it's hard to believe.
141 of them, they're out in the mix of it every day.
Yeah, that's great. Good. That's wonderful. I was going to ask about the results, and you can't get any better than 0. Other questions?
Probably not so much a question, but for Brad. When I see that there's specific training on the bills, this one, Criminal Terrorist Workshop, is that closely held information, or is it possible to have an executive summary of what the training comprised presented to the Board of Works, just for our education? Well, I would be interested. I don't want to take up anybody else's time unnecessarily, but I'd be interested to have an overview of some of that training, because I think the police department is doing a good job at staying atop of training opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely, it's definitely not a secret, so, how do you want that distributed? It comes up on claims.
Yep. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or, when it comes up on claims, if I could call upon you and you've got a paragraph, it would educate me a little bit about what's actually being trained. Thank you.
Other questions? Remember, you have any others?
I do not.
On Big 9, EAP services, the second invoice down on top of Big 9, Suncrest Psychological Services. My question was not about that. I know what that is. My question is, are we seeing those EAP services, I guess this is a question in general, being utilized more heavily than in the past? I would expect them to be.
Say so.
Yes, the amount 5625 is higher than what we normally would expend now for the same time period, so yeah.
It'd be interesting, again, at the end of the day, Tim, it'd be interesting to look back on the year to find out what traditionally those costs of psychological services and EAP for our employees will be. At the end of the day, I'd like to see.
Okay.
It'd just be interesting, just numbers to know. It's there for people to get help with. I want them to get help.
Sure.
And therefore, I would expect these costs to go up fairly dramatically, frankly, because of what we're suffering.
I agree.
So I'd just be interested to know that.
Right, the HR department does a nice job providing up-to-date information to us in terms of workman's comp, which fortunately is way down this year.
Yeah.
Our out-of-pocket, which is good. Other programs, though, like this one, are up, but overall,
Yeah.
we can get that information to you.
Good, that'd be good. Anybody else have any questions or comments on the bills? If not, we have a motion, a second, to approve the invoices. Thanks, Tim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Anybody have, thanks, Tim, appreciate it. Anybody have any announcements they want to make for the board before we adjourn? Sorry, Dennis.
I think the chief wants to just give us a little FYI on some,
Good.
People like to talk about that EAP program. It's really new, actually. We've had an EAP program for years. I don't know how often we used it, but this has been created not just for fire department and law enforcement, but it has over the past few years. Dr. Dardine is our primary person that we go to with this program. She was a paramedic for a number of years. So her and her husband are both have been in the emergency services and have an understanding of this situation and what we've heard, at least my people coming back, and if they've shared anything with me, it's been great. So.
Well, good. That's great. Thank you. I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks for that feedback. That's great.
Yeah. We for the last 2 years, Lafayette Fire Department, West Lafayette Fire Department, Purdue University, Wabash Township, and Battleground or Tippecanoe Township have been. It first started really just with a conversation about our mutual aid. We've had a mutual aid program that you've signed off of for years, right? We still have it. It's in the clerk's office. So what that consists of is an agreement from all of our agencies, all the volunteer fire departments, all of the career departments, basically saying, if you need us, we'll show up. If we need you, you'll show up. And we've used it, for years. But we recognized a problem, especially with significant incidents, that I've been on 37 years, and I can tell you, Deputy Chief and I were trying to think. I said 3. He said it's less than that, times we've been over on the west side. Well, if you know what divides us, it's just a river, and there are several bridges on that river. So it has to come down to a decision that's made. And for the past number of years, we've worked on our relationship with all of our other agencies in our community to call us, And if you've ever been in a extremely stressful situation, you can refer to it as the fog of war. Mm-hmm. And what decisions you make are based on typically the training and kind of almost motor reaction. Well, if I can go back in 37 years of my history, there's been a problem with them, somebody on that side of the river calling us. And it hasn't been that we don't like each other. It is essentially in the midst of that, you call on the people that you generally call on. Mm-hmm. West Lafayette, Wabash Township, if it's not an insignificant, but a small incident, they just kind of work together over there. Purdue helps West Side helps Purdue. But when it gets to a very significant, if you can remember just not that long ago, the 7 houses that they had on fire, mm-hmm. That was significant, right? Made national news and all that kind of stuff. And then on South River Road a few years ago, they had a significant apartment fire that they lost a student in. And that's significant over there when a student dies in a house fire or any situation. But that was significant. They didn't call us on either one of those fires. And we sit on this side. We have radios that we can hear what's going on. We don't self-dispatch, okay? So if there's a problem somewhere, we don't just show up because it screws up incident command systems and all kinds of stuff. So for centuries now, it seems like, we've stood over here and looked at black smoke in the horizon and thought, why don't they call us? Why don't they call us? It's really because in the fog of war, you just forget. Mm-hmm. We've had the mutual aid agreement, so it's nothing financial because we do that for free between each city. So a few years ago, we were going into a meeting to start really talking about our mutual aid, agreement and that kind of stuff, and really between West Lafayette and us, Purdue, and those other 2 agencies. And Chief Heath had map in his hand. And I said, what's that? And he said, it's a map, stupid. And I said, well, what is it? He says, well, it's all of our districts and that kind of stuff. And we were going into their new temporary city hall. And I said, how about us getting a map that doesn't have boundaries on it? He's like, okay. So we went into the engineering office over there and had a map that, you know, is all of that area, and we took the boundaries off. So other than the river, so we look like, on that map, we look like one big fire service, right? So, so we sat down and we incorporated our dispatchers in these meetings over the next 2 years. And you're probably not familiar with, you know what our CAD system is because it costs money. So you see that cost occasionally. We have the same CAD system. It's one system, covers the whole county. So all law enforcement, all fire, all EMS, that CAD system thinks we're all one big emergency services, right? It doesn't know the difference. We put parameters on that system. So that's what the problem is, why we don't automatically
Yeah, it's a human
help.
problem. It's a human
Yeah,
problem.
it is, when we've created it.
Yeah.
So, we asked the dispatchers, you know, if we remove those, basically what this refers to is automatic aid. So we have essentially sat down and we drew out its I would refer to it as code. We've been using this for 100 years. It used to be a hard card system where if you called, you know, this is prior to 911, you called our dispatch center and you said, I live at, you know, 1940 Morton Street. The dispatcher actually looked at the card and it told him or her who to send, okay? That's unit recommend is what it's called. So we still have that. Now it's just automated, but we restrict it just to our city, okay? So what we've done is rewritten code. So give you an example of this location right here. Our two busiest fire stations in this city one is Station 2 at Erie and Salem, and the other one is up at 5 Points. The two busiest, all right? And most of our fire response is in this area. So the likelihood of both those stations being out of service is high, okay? The next unit recommend currently is at Union and Salem, Union and Creasy, and 18th and Teal, okay? Those are the next companies coming down here either on a med run or a fire run. Well, that's not the closest station here. It's West Side, okay? So that's what this system does. So essentially our city's divided into 26 response districts that we create. And we put code into each one of those. It says, if something's going on in this one, here's the code. And we just list out in geo proximity 1 through 50, whatever. So the first company is going to be the one that's in that. Then the second one gets filled in. And CAD automatically fills in. So if everybody in that area is out, it automatically fills companies in. So a dispatcher, excuse me,
Take a mess.
Yeah, there you go.
Just fine.
so the dispatcher doesn't have to make a decision.
Right.
Not that they're not capable of it,
Sure.
but especially in a high stress situation, we don't want them to have to think, all right, where's the next station? Where's it located at? Because I can tell you that if you hire a brand new dispatcher, they're not yet familiar with where all of our fire stations are, okay?
Right.
So they don't have to be. They just look at the CAD that says, oh, that's Station 5 and Station 6. So what we've done, it's not implemented yet, but what we've done is rewritten the code so that if we have a situation right here and both of those stations are out of service, your next companies could still be 2 and 7, but West Side would be coming over to assist them. Or if it's a med run, West Side may be the first company over here to assist them. This is not cutting edge technology. I'm not, inventing something that's not being done. If you go down to the Indy metro area, all those fire departments down there do it. Indy does it with Pike.
Sure, they have to.
Everybody.
Right.
It's actually kind of a very old system. So, our runs, continually go up. So we're out of service more often than we are. And that's for everybody, all of our community plus our EMS and things like that. So it's really needed more. If wherever you live, you don't care, I don't think, what the label on that truck is when it gets there.
You want help.
You really just need it. And in our world, it's all about timing. It's all about timing. If you're, statistics say if you have a heart attack, 4 minutes is that critical time. If you have a fire, it doubles every 2 minutes. So time is critical. So this kind of makes it automatic and solves that problem. It is new for us. And any time that we have something that's, changes things, there's a transition. That's why when we first started that, I said, let's take 2 years to do this because we want to do it right. And we first thought August of this year and then September. We're actually in the middle of a kind of redoing our CAD system in the whole county. So we've pushed it back to December. We're hoping that December might be a date. It could be later than that because we have to essentially wait to see, new CAD and because we don't want to load all that information into this current one and we get rid of it and somebody has to do that later. So in a nutshell, that's kind of what we're looking at.
That's great.
Yeah, both mayors are aware of it. They've, we've kept them informed, and they've, had plenty of questions, rightfully so, and so they've both been in approval as we go through this. One of the things we can't, when we work on our ISO rating every 3 years, one of the things that we've never been able to have, there's a whole section in the middle. It's called automatic aid. We can't count, even though there's 4 fire stations that can assist. A mutual aid contract doesn't count. They don't count those as people or equipment. But if it's an automatic aid program, then they count it. So essentially, we will be increasing our response numbers, significantly, and in turn, so will they. So
Right.
it's a benefit for our community. So,
Right.
Well, it also
questions?
helps our ISO rating too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it will. It
Yeah.
will. Currently, we're at 2. We just got that information. We were last time. We just got that information literally yesterday. We were approved again as a 2.
Right.
So one of the things that's held us out of a 1 is this. And this wasn't my sole motivation, is just to increase that number, because you as a citizen, yeah, it can affect your insurance, but it doesn't affect the fact that if you're having an emergency,
Right.
time, again, is the thing that we're trying to do with this.
So basically, West Lafayette's, the cultural changes between Lafayette and West Lafayette.
The biggest.
The
yeah.
biggest.
Purdue will be,
Purdue also?
yeah. They have 1 fire station, probably about 8 people that work that, and they cover the whole
Yeah.
university. If they didn't have us and West Side and those other agencies, that's why Wabash Township is one of their
Right.
partners too. They just couldn't do it.
Right.
I mean, that kind of stuff. So, yeah,
Right.
they'll benefit from it too.
So the process you're undergoing, how much training will it take? Will it take much training, or, interoperability between departments and communication systems and those types of things? Are
We,
those all?
just last week, Motorola, who is our vendor for our radios, just essentially touched all of our mobile radios, all of our handheld radios, and added 4 new channels to what we refer to as our front page. So anytime we would be responding together, we just added channels that we can communicate with together. We've had West Lafayette Fire. Another thing is we have a state-of-the-art training center, if you've ever seen it. West Side has never been over there. Again, they have 3 fire stations. It's hard for them to shut one down and to come over here and do training, so that's kind of been it. So even before this started, we agreed, we communicated with them and said, hey, send somebody over, send them over, we'll help you out. You don't need to worry about that. So they've been coming over to our training center. We have joint training scheduled this fall.
Wow.
But they're in our recruit schools. They've been sending people to our recruit schools,
Great.
things like that. So, yeah, that's important because, we need to know who they are. I mean, I know who that chief is, but, firefighter to firefighter, we're trying to
Yeah.
improve that too.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay.
There's hope, chief. even the school districts are getting along better.
Good, good.
We talk, sometimes have lunch.
I bet.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you.
That's a great update. Appreciate
thank
knowing
you.
that. That's wonderful. That's been very important information. Anybody else have anything else for the board this morning? If not, our meeting stands adjourned. Thank you. Who buys, Ron?